Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Today we're going to be starting a new playlist on this channel where we're going to be going over the second station of the 14th flash in the Risale Nur. Now, I'm sorry I was unable to upload a video on Friday, on Jummah. I'm also sorry I was unable to upload a video the day after that. And I also said that I was going to release videos frequently. But I've recently realized yesterday that how comprehensive, how complex and deep the Risale Nur is, and analyzing and going over it is really difficult, right? Like interpreting it, its meaning. I used to think it was really simple, but I thought it was really easy to understand, but now I realize it's not. So I'm going to be actually releasing videos once in 2 weeks. I hope you guys will be okay with that. And now let us get started. Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. I seek refuge in Allah from the accursed shaitan, the outcast, in the name of God, the merciful, the compassionate. Okay. The second station of the 14th flash, I'm going to try to read slowly. Hopefully I won't go too fast. This, which is included here because of its relevance, consists of 6 of the thousands of mysteries contained in the name of God, the merciful, the compassionate. So in our previous playlist, we went over Bismillah, which is in the name of God. Well, now in the second station of the 14th flash, we're going to be going over Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, which is in the name of God, the merciful, the compassionate. Note, a bright light from in the name of God, the merciful, the compassionate, concerning divine mercy, appeared to my dull mind from afar. I wanted to record it for myself in the form of notes, to hunt it down and capture it, and circumscribe the light with 20 to 30 mysteries. But unfortunately, I was not able to do this at the present time, and the 20 or 30 mysteries were reduced to 5 or 6. When I say, oh man, I mean myself. While this lesson is directed particularly to my own soul, I refer it as the second station of the 14th flash for the approval of my meticulous brothers and the hope that it may benefit those with whom I am connected spiritually and whose souls are more discerning than mine. This lesson looks to the heart more than the reason and regards spiritual pleasure in perception rather than rational proofs. Okay. By the way, I would like to say, so when Risale Nur is saying, oh man, Ustad is referring to himself. And also, when I'm referencing the Risale Nur, I'm going to be saying the Risale Nur is saying this. I'm not going to say Ustad Said Nursi is saying this because Ustad didn't want attention to be directed to himself. Okay, so that's why I'm going to be saying the Risale Nur said this. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of God, the merciful, the compassionate. The queen said, Ye chiefs, here is delivered to me a letter worthy of respect. It is from Solomon and is as follows. In the name of God, the merciful, the compassionate. So here the Risale Nur is referencing a passage from the Quran, which is when Prophet Solomon, peace be upon him, sent a letter to the Queen of Sheba, who she and her people were known for worshipping the sun. They were doing like sun worship. A number of mysteries will be mentioned in this station. So the first mystery. I saw one manifestation of in the name of God, the merciful, the compassionate as follows. So manifestation means to show itself. Okay? So for example, if you're angry, if someone's angry, their anger might manifest itself. It might show itself in the form of, let's say, like physical violence, right? Or if you're sad, that sadness might manifest itself in the form of being quiet or acting very depressed, right? It doesn't just have to do with emotions, right? Those are just some examples I'm giving. So one manifestation of in the name of God, the merciful, the compassionate, as follows. On the face of the universe, the face of the earth, and the face of man are 3 stamps of dominicality, one within the other, and each showing samples of the others. So let's try to break down what this means. So what does dominicality mean? Okay. Well, dominicality refers to the words domain or dominion. So, for example, in medieval times, a king might rule over a domain, right? A certain stretch of territory, right? He might have control or power over that certain area, okay? A dominion refers to sovereignty or control. And in this context, dominicality refers to God's control or sovereignty over the universe. And the universe is everything that is, everything that exists, from the earth to the stars, to the sun, to the cosmos, the galaxies, everything that exists. Okay? So, on the face of the universe, everything that exists, on the face of the earth, so our world, and the face of man, us, are three stamps of dominicality, one within the other, and each showing samples of the others. Now, what does stamps here mean? Okay, so stamps could be used for different reasons, right? So, for example, in a movie theater, you might, for example, have like your tickets, or like at a train station, you might have the tickets stamped, right? Or when you get a letter from, let's say, a university, there could be a stamp on the letter. Or, for example, once again, in medieval times, right, with like the ancient or medieval coins, there can be stamps on it. What does that mean? So, for example, if you search up on the internet of like a king or a ruler, right? Well, for example, let's say you search up Salahuddin Ayyubi, right? A picture that you might see is a picture of like a round coin. I believe it's a round coin. And on the coin is an image of Salahuddin Ayyubi, right? That's a stamp. The stamp signifies his power and influence. Like that coin, it was made by like his kingdom or his it was made by like Ayyubi and like his kingdom. I don't think that's the right word, right? But you know, it was made by Salahuddin Ayyubi and like his people. Okay, it was made by them, right? So the coin, so the stamps signify something, okay? So for example, when you get a letter from a university, from such and such university, there might be like a red, like an emblem, like a stamp on that letter, which signifies what university it's coming from, okay? So the stamps, they signify something. And on the face of the universe, earth, and man are three stamps of dominicality. So stamps of that points to God's absolute sovereignty over the universe. Okay, so let's see what these stamps are. The first stamp is the great stamp of Godhead, which is manifested through the mutual assistance, cooperation, and embracing and corresponding to one another of beings in the totality of the universe. This looks to in the name of God. Now, I'm going to go over this paragraph and then I'm going to finish because I don't want to make this video too long, but let's try to understand what this means. So this first stamp is the great stamp of Godhead. Now, Godhead refers to the nature or disposition of God. Okay? So, for example, human beings have a nature. We human beings, we have a disposition. For example, we have a disposition to be angry, to be sad, to be compassionate, to be loving, to be greedy or tight-fisted, right? These are the natural things part of our disposition, okay? And just like how we have a disposition, God also has a disposition, okay? And so the first great stamp pointing to God's sovereignty over the universe is the great stamp of Godhead. So his disposition, which is manifested, which shows itself through the mutual assistance, cooperation, and embracing and corresponding to one another of beings and the totality of the universe. So mutual assistance means two or more parties assisting or helping each other achieve a certain goal. Operation means to the act of functioning or being active. Cooperation means to be doing or something, functioning or doing something with, once again, two or more parties, Like a market might have like a co-owner, right? There's not just one owner, there's multiple owners. For example, like when there's a medical operation, right? That's a type of operation. Or for example, in modern warfare, right? Let's say like you end up like invading enemy territory and like attacking like key enemy positions. That's an operation. So a cooperation is again two or more parties operating something. And what does embracing and corresponding mean? Embracing literally just means to like hug, right? To hold someone, right? But symbolically, it symbolizes love and affection and connection, like a strong bond. And corresponding means to be in harmony, okay? And the totality of the universe, what does that mean? So the universe is everything that exists. Totality means everything, like the totalness, right? For example, if you go to the market and you buy a series of different products, and you go to the cash register, it'll give you a total price. You know, okay, so the price for all these items you bought is XYZ, right? So let's say $20, $20, $30. So in the entire universe, okay, so the first stamp of Dominicality, which is God's sovereignty over the universe, is the great stamp of Godhead, which is God's disposition, which manifests, which shows itself through the working together, the cooperating and corresponding, the harmony of beings in the entire universe. This looks to in the name of God. In our previous playlist, we went over in the name of God, Bismillah. What does that mean? Beings are acting with the authority and power of God. In the first word, we even had an example of a man going to a town, forcing the people of the town to go somewhere else and compel them to work, which shows that he's acting with the authority of government. He can't do that by himself. So when you have the different beings in the entire universe, everything that exists, mutually assisting, cooperating, embracing, and corresponding to one another, they're doing this in the name of God, with His authority, with His power. Okay? Now I'm going to stop here, and I'm going to end the video. Inshallah, we'll continue next time and go over the second grade stamp, maybe even the third grade stamp, inshallah. By the way, I have 2 YouTube channels. This is one where I make videos about the Risale-i-Nur, which is a collection of commentary on the Quran. And I also have another channel where I make chess videos. And I'm also writing a novel on Substack. So I'll leave a link tree in the description box below so that you can access those. And inshallah, I will see you guys next time.